just to reiterate, the FBI has taken the lead in this investigation, but I want to thank every agency standing behind me and those that you may or may not see currently that are working with us shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand to get to the bottom of this senseless act of violence. Prepared some talking points to make sure I address all the questions that you posed earlier, so bear with me as I go through them. We're gathering a lot of information right now, so we want to share as much as we possibly can. The individual believed to be responsible for the terror attack at the Orlando Club Pulse early Sunday morning has been identified as Omar Mir Sadiq Martin, age 29, an American citizen born in New York. He died of an exchange of gunfire with police officers early this morning. The FBI first became aware of Martin in 2013 when he made inflammatory comments to coworkers alleging possible terrorist ties. The FBI thoroughly investigated the matter, including interviews of witnesses, physical surveillance, and records checks. In the course of the investigation, Martin was interviewed twice. Ultimately, we were unable to verify the substance of his comments, and the investigation was closed. In 2014, Martin again came to the attention of the FBI because of possible ties to Monar Abu Salah, an American suicide bomber. The FBI conducted an investigation, including an interview with Martin. We determined that contact was minimal and did not constitute a substantive relationship or a threat at that time. It has been reported that Martin made calls to 911 this morning in which he stated his allegiance to the leader of the Islamic State. We are looking into any and all connections, both domestic and international. We're going to be as transparent as possible, but we also want to be as accurate as possible, as I stated earlier today. Given the ongoing nature of the investigation, we'll continue to provide updates when information becomes available. Thank you.
So does that mean the 911 report is inaccurate at this point?
There were 911 calls in which there was conversation between the subject and law enforcement representatives of 911 dispatchers. That has become federal evidence.
Was there a declaration of allegiance to anyone, or can't you share that with us?
It's my understanding, I have not personally listened to him, but it was general to the Islamic State.
There have been more deaths in the hospital is under heavy guard right now. Can you confirm that? Could there be a second suspect here?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
I am hearing that there is somebody that's in the hospital under close guard by law enforcement. Is that true, and could there be a second suspect that acted with this man?
I can tell you at this point in time, we do not have a second suspect that we are actively looking for. We don't know of any credible or singular threats that are facing the Orlando area or nationally. We are providing physical presence for the hospitals and the victim assistance centers to make sure everyone remains safe and secure.
Can you give us sort of like kind of an overview of what the inside of the Pulse looks like? Were there victims found on the second floor? Did the shooter move around?
All I can tell you is that crime scene is still being processed, and I can't comment on anything going on with the interior.
Shots were fired?
Sir.
Special agent, he was interviewed twice by the FBI in 2013, interviewed again in 2014 for connection to a known terrorist, a suicide bomber. How in the world did this guy get a statewide gun permit?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, those interviews turned out to be inconclusive, so there was nothing to keep the investigation going forward.
But you had the echoes of terror, and he got a gun permit nevertheless.
Again, investigation was closer.
Was he currently under surveillance?
Have there been more victims that have passed since our last update?
Do we have someone from the medical speak to that? I am not personally aware of any other victims that have passed since the last press conference.
Have family members been notified of the bodies that are inside? I mean, have you been able to identify them all? Have you notified their families?
So we're trying to be as respectful as possible of the deceased people that still remain inside the facility. As we identify people, we are making notifications, and then the police department and I believe the city are preparing a website to list those that have been made contact with.
Any idea how many have been contacted at this point?
From the hospital perspective, at least 6 that I know of next of kin have been notified that their loved ones have.
Chief, is there danger inside of this club still for your agents and the FBI and the people investigating this crime? Is there still potential for danger in there?
No, the scene is clear, but like Special Agent Hopper said, There's a lot of victims inside, trying to be respectful of that as well, and it's just going to take time. We ask that people have patience.